Hello, everyone. We're live here with our FPL Under the Radar Game Week 33 preview video. I'm here with my buddies, FPL Wrangler. How are you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. We could not do our video last week, so we're back after a couple of weeks. Feeling good. How are you doing, ZD?
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. Yeah, it's a double game week. So how you guys feeling?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, uh, nothing overwhelming, but at the same time, with how the doubles have fallen, it's a lot to take in, of course, right? A lot of new information. We got new information today as well. So, and it's kind of, it feels like every day there is new information, right? Something is changing. It's kind of ever
Yeah.
evolving. So yeah, a lot of moving pieces, I would say. So yeah, exciting times. Last 6 game weeks. So
Mhm.
lot to gain, lot to lose, I guess. We'll see. All right, so let's get
Uh,
started. So today we'll be talking about the fixtures, of course. As we said, we have some new news for the schedule rescheduled fixtures. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the major dilemmas in Game of 33, and in a way, who are the players and teams to target in 33 and beyond. Also a little bit. We'll talk about 33 captaincy, which is again actually one of the biggest dilemmas probably this week, and we'll talk about our own team selections too at the end. So first of all, fixtures. So of course, 33 was going to be one of the biggest doubles of the season, and we knew this before the deadline of 32. So 7 teams doubling, and 3 teams blanking essentially, which was most of these schedules were determined by the FA Cup quarterfinals essentially. So Aston Villa, Leeds, and Wolves, they're blanking because they were supposed to play with Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool. But those teams, the ones that are actually playing in the FA Cup semi-final, they have a single game week. This game week, so all the big teams, Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, the league leaders, they have a single game week. The teams that are doubling are Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley, Leicester, Manchester United, Newcastle, and Southampton. Again, as I said, it's not super overwhelming or anything. Manchester United, of course, has a good home game against Norwich, so that's kind of attractive from a target standpoint this game week. Elsewhere, maybe Arsenal, Southampton, and Chelsea. Again, their recent form is not the best. They lost some of their key players also to injuries. Um, Brighton is barely a double game week. It's like Tottenham and Man City, one of the hardest game weeks you can think of. Burnley, we're not going to even talk about them. Leicester is a decent double. Newcastle and Everton, both away games. The problem with Leicester is, of course, that they are still playing in Europe, right? So they just played today, so Thursday, and then again their first game against Newcastle is on Sunday. So barely like 70 hours of rest, not even that, less than that. Um, and then in Wednesday they again play Everton, right? And of course in the next weekend they have another game, and after that they have to play in the Europa Conference League semi-final. So it's a very hectic schedule for Leicester. Otherwise, it could have been a good schedule, a good double, but given how it has fallen, it's not necessarily the best. Manchester United, we spoke about Norwich, of course, and then Liverpool, their second game. Newcastle has a decent double home against Leicester and Crystal Palace, and a lot of us are talking about targeting their defenders and potentially their attackers too. Decent double, and then Southampton, of course, Arsenal, and then Burnley. So again, not the most attractive, but probably the Southampton and Burnley game can get some traction. Um, and we'll talk about the fixtures in the next slide, so I'm not going to get into too much details. Well, what we got to know today is essentially that there were some provisional announcements for the doubles in 34 or 35. And again, it's dependent on what happens in the FA Cup semifinals. So if Chelsea wins versus Crystal Palace, they will double against Manchester United in 34, and Manchester United will double with Arsenal and Chelsea. Again, that's a provisional, only will happen if Chelsea beats Crystal Palace. If it happens the other way, if Crystal Palace beats Chelsea, then Crystal Palace will double in 35 against Aston Villa. So it'll be Aston Villa doubling with Norwich and Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace doubling with Southampton and Aston Villa. If the results are reversed essentially, so if Chelsea loses, their double will be in 37. It will remain in 37. If Crystal Palace loses, their double will remain in 37 as well. So they don't necessarily have to be pulled ahead in 34 or 35. And then, of course, 36 is the biggest double, as it always is historically. And then 37 is also a pretty big double. Again, probably not the most attractive. The only thing that's still kind of up in the air is Manchester City and West Ham's doubles, right? Or whether West Ham will double at all or not. But the attractive point from an FPL perspective is Manchester City's. So again, if Manchester City does beat Liverpool in the semi-final, FA Cup semi-final, their double almost surely has to be in 36. Uh, if they lose, then it can either be in 36 and 37. Again, contingent to what West Ham does in their Europe competition, right? So they also went ahead in the semi-final in the Europa. So if they win, again, 37 will be basically the week where they will be playing the final, if they go to the final, of course. But again, PL cannot wait that long, right, to reschedule. So if they do, then 37, definitely City West Ham double is not possible. So it'll 100% be in 36. If West Ham doesn't go forward, then there is a possibility, small possibility, that Man City and West Ham can happen in 37. So again, as I said in the beginning, as we said in the beginning, a lot of new information to take in. It's almost 100% laid out. A little couple of missing pieces with Chelsea and Manchester City. Some of this information uh, will be known to us by this Sunday. So after the deadline, unfortunately, but as soon as this Sunday, we'll know. Anything that you guys want to highlight for the upcoming schedules this week and beyond?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. It's just more likelihood now that if Chelsea beats Crystal Palace, then Man United will have double in 33 and 34,
Correct.
and that's actually kind of making a huge impact in the game week 33 decision as well, since they have
Mhm.
double. I think that's the only thing is getting some attention. I think among the managers. Otherwise, yeah, it's all good. Whatever you covered, it's pretty well put.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, as FPL Spaceman has been trying to do over the last few weeks, the Venn diagram looks really messy now because of the situation that we just described. So with Man City and Chelsea kind of contingent to a lot of things, but it'll get simpler once we know the FA Cup semi-final results, and it's a one-leg semi-final, so that's the good thing. So we'll know as soon as again by this Sunday. Uh, but again, I just found this funny, kind of how complex it sounds, at least on the surface. All right, so let's move on. Next, I'll talk about kind of highlight our fixtures for this week and what we are thinking the results could be based on our EXG model and also the clean sheet odds from FPL review. So what I found interesting is, of course, that the model is also predicting that Liverpool would beat Manchester United pretty handsomely, uh, something like a 3-1. It's not just because they scored 5 against Manchester United earlier this season. It's based on the overall season performance of Liverpool's attacking charisma and then Manchester United's defensive frailties, right? So based on all those, so that's something that's interesting. And of course, the as Wrangler, you were saying, the Manchester United Norwich game is of attention, not just because they are doubling this week, they're also doubling in 34. So especially people who don't have wild card or who are not free hitting this week, potentially more important for them. But anyways, that's essentially that one of the target games this game week, right? So again, Manchester United are expected to score handsomely against Norwich. Um, Elsewhere, Chelsea Arsenal, so one of the London derbies, generally is a pretty close battle. But again, Arsenal's defense away from home, especially now that they lost Tierney, Tomiyasu is still out, I think, and then Partey is out. So their defensive shape is not in the best condition as of now, right at this moment. So I do see that happening actually. Chelsea beating Arsenal pretty handsomely. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, I don't know if you guys want to talk about any specific schedule, Newcastle or Leicester, etc. Wrangler or ZD.
So as like as the model shows, right, I think it makes pretty good sense. And also if you see the clean sheet odds, right, and in the right hand side, like all the big teams, right, the Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, all of their clean sheet odds are like pretty high, and that's the thing in this game week 33 is that all the big teams have good fixture. It's not only yeah, they are a good team, and but their fixture are pretty good as well. Their opponents are not very promising. So clean sheet odd wise, and also exg that our model predicted, it makes pretty good sense. And I mean, as you mentioned before, right, that this is not a very overwhelming double game week, except that Man United, and we see that here as well, right, that clean sheet odds, that Man United has 52% against Norwich, right? And also if you see the exg, our model also predicting 2 goals for Man United, while Norwich 0.8. So that's where these things actually become like, or this double game week became very much attractive, only just because of this fixture. And that's where I think all the managers having kind of dilemma that what should we do. But otherwise I think, yeah, this model, it makes pretty good sense. And because of the home and away, and also like this Liverpool Man United, as you see, right, 2.8 and 1.2. Liverpool has been good, but in the home they were actually even way better. I mean, I was seeing their home versus away. It's the delta is pretty high, by the way. Their xg. So I mean, will not be. I mean, it was 5-0 definitely, but again, it's not only because of the previous fixture. I mean, will not be surprised if it is 3-0, given the form that Man United has as well, right? So yeah,
Right.
that's, I think.
Okay. Anything else to add, ZD?
No, I think you guys covered it well. Yeah, I mean, although it's double game week, but it's very hard to ignore the single game week teams as well. Especially Liverpool, Man City, and Spurs. They have pretty good fixtures. All are playing at home against the teams like Brighton is in the beach already. Man United, they are fighting, but I think Liverpool is too good at Anfield, right? So
Hmm.
it's an interesting week actually.
Very interesting. Yeah.
You see,
As
like,
well. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Norwich clean sheet odds 8% only.
Yeah.
So that tells the
Yeah, I mean
story.
that's has been their story the whole season, right? Yeah. So we have always targeted the teams that were playing against Norwich pretty much all through the season. So that's the story. Yeah. So yeah, I mean otherwise nothing much to talk about. But we'll talk a little bit about whether to free hit or not in the coming slides. But let's go to the next one. Wrangler, you want to talk about this? The double game week attackers to target potentially.
Yeah, so here basically we put only the double game week attackers, right? The single game weekers, we didn't include it here because basically, I mean, the fixture is pretty good, right? So, I mean, if you don't free hit the attackers, people usually have like Kane or Son or Salah. Those people, I mean, those players will be, I think, there, right,
Yeah,
in the
already
team.
template. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, if you want to bring, since it's a double game week, and one of the biggest double game week, right? So that's why we thought to focus all the double game week attackers, their team XG in the along the x-axis, and along the y-axis is their XG plus XA. So basically XGI for all the attackers, both midfield and forwards. And if you see here, right, in the top right, Bruno and Ronaldo are way ahead amongst all other all other attackers, right? And
Mhm.
that's why, as we discussed before as well, right, Man United fixture is pretty good too, right? So these two are one of the like big captain shout as well, as we're going to talk before, I mean later. But I think these are the two like names stand out. Che Adams, we discussed before. His number looks good, but again, I mean, and it's a double game week. Um, he's a good shout, but again, as you mentioned as well, right? The miss he does, I mean, it's sometimes
Mhm.
intolerable. But again, it's not a bad shout. I think people will be interested in the like Newcastle asset. So ASM or even Wood. I mean, Wood actually scored last game week, right? So he got some attention, and people were even thinking whether to get rid of Weghorst and get Wood. So
Mhm.
that's all right. I mean, I think if you free hit this like either ASM or Wood can
Yeah.
be a very good shout. Otherwise, as you mentioned before, right? The Leicester City has good fixture, although like because of their hectic schedule, it's very difficult to predict who will like start and or who will not. But I think like Madison or Harvey Barnes, those are the two options people were thinking. Now Barnes actually got subbed off today after 45 minutes. Now there are two narratives. People were thinking that his form was not good, so whether he's going to start or not. While others were thinking, okay, he got rest, so he might start, right?
Mhm.
So we don't know. So that's another thing, right? If you free hit, you can probably take a chance, but if you don't free hit, I don't know whether you take this. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of difficult because since they are in now Europe. So what do you think about like Leicester City?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a lot easier for us, the FPL managers, if they were out of Europe, right?
Mhm.
They have 9 games in the remaining 6 games, right? If I'm not wrong. So three doubles, including these, and then 36 and 37. So definitely attractive, right? Not just for 33, even for a long term, they would have been attractive. But them being in Europe, it really makes difficult to know who the picks could be or should be. Madison is definitely the highest priority, and as we have seen some polls in Twitter, also he's potential captaincy candidate too. And I believe he is the highest transferred player this week so far as well. Over 200k people have transferred him in. So he's the biggest target. Barnes could be, as you said, but he kind of looks out of sort, out of form. So Lookman can play there, right? They can even feel like Iheanacho and Daka together. So it's hard to really kind of predict what Leicester is going to look like. But of course, they played like today, Thursday, and then they play on Sunday morning, right? So it's barely any gap between these two, and they looked knackered, right, at the end of today's game. So it's really hard for me to see that people like Madison start. Barnes could, as you said, because he was taken off at 45 minutes. But then again, how do you know that he would start the second? So it almost like becomes a single game week situation for Leicester. But if you want to go for anyone, it has to be Madison, I think, for me. If you will go for one Leicester player, it has to be Madison. Of course, KDH is interesting, Dewsbury Hall, because of his price point. 4.4 million, right? So he's a good shout. He looks to be more kind of forward in the recent games. So if you're looking for a price enabler for like again like a Ronaldo or Bruno or kind of fitting in three premiums, for example, right? So he's a very decent enabler, not just again for 33 for the longer run up to 36, 37. So yeah, other than those two, I don't think I'll be looking at anyone else from Leicester.
By the way, like we miss Sancho, but Sancho could be also like another differential shout.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's basically again like if you cannot afford absolutely
Mm.
Bruno or Ronaldo, you go there. Priority would be getting Bruno and Ronaldo free hit or non-free hit potentially, especially for captaincy.
Mhm.
But yeah, Sancho is a good outside punt necessarily.
And also
Punt.
since they might have double as well, that's where things become more interesting from Man United side.
Yeah. And I don't think Sancho necessarily, and you would know better, Sancho, I don't think necessarily has a fight for his place, right? I think they're Rashford and Elanga are probably kind of fighting for the other wing, right? Sancho is pretty much playing, if not the whole 90-80 every game, essentially, right? So he's pretty much
I
nailed
was
as
actually
you can.
I was actually hearing up one space today, and Elanga shot actually came interestingly because people thought that Rashford was not good. So
Yep,
Elanga made it start, and it's going to be an enabler, right? I mean, you
absolutely.
spend money somewhere else, and I think it's a good shout too.
Yeah, yeah. I was always on Elanga, right? You know about that. So I
Yeah.
was talking of Elanga like from 3 4 game weeks ago. I never got into him. But yeah, he can be a good shot. Another good shot since you spoke about is Nketiah, right? So if Lacazette is
Mm-hmm.
out, so that's also kind of in the community, kind of. I think he's like 5.3 million or 5.4 million forward, right? So having a double this game week, and if Lacazette is out for the long term, potentially for 36, is not the worst thing. Again, a lot of people are trying to get the money out of the forward line, right? So if you are either a Lacazette or whoever you want to get rid of, Nketiah may not be the worst shout in the world. Okay, anything to add, ZD?
Yeah, no, I think you guys discussed it well. I mean, Man United attackers are the first priority. Um, Seems so. I mean, within the fixture, and their stats are good, but they are not
Mhm.
performing. But I think they just need one game to turn around. It might happen. Previously, it happened. So,
Yep.
I mean, people like us probably expecting to turn around um, against Norwich, and I
Yeah,
think most of the free hit stars actually targeting them. Probably
yeah. Yeah, you
Fernandez or
have to,
Ronaldo,
right? The
both of them.
numbers are there. All the numbers are
Yeah,
there. It's just they need to perform. That's about it. Yeah. And I mean, their numbers are elite, right? As Wrangler was
yeah,
saying, like the point 0.8 XGI is
point
basically
eight.
one goal involvement every game
Mm-hmm.
almost. So cannot get better than that, right? So yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Next, we'll talk about the defenders. Wrangler, you want
Yeah.
to
So
mention?
again, here we focused again only the double gimmick defenders, and this is the difference between the free hit team and the template team will be is that if you see here from the double game week defenders side, right, again the along the x-axis the team xgc, and along the y-axis each defenders like xgi, so xg plus xa, and none of them actually have like I mean it's very impressive numbers basically, right? We saw before big at the back, and there was a reason for that, right? The teams, the big teams were doing good defensively, and the defenders were good too, right? And that was the difference we'll have in this game week as well. That free hit team probably will have like this low budget defender, while the template team will have defenders like Cancelo, Robertson, or Trent, which were doing really good. So here actually, I mean, I don't know, I don't find except probably Teles, because again they are playing against Norwich. So Teles is a very good shout since Shaw is now injured. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, again, Sharon Target are also like, or the Newcastle assets are very good, in like attractive as well because of their good fixture, and Shar was doing good too. Target has been also very good involved recently, but I mean otherwise I don't see any other really options. I don't know whether you guys think, but
Yeah, I
again,
think the only
Target,
thing probably the Arsenal boys too. Yeah,
Cedric,
yeah,
maybe.
Cedric potentially can be a good enabler.
Yes.
But yeah, otherwise very kind of thin option wise between the double game of
I
defenders.
mean,
ZD, you
there
want to add?
there could be some rotation risk, but Justin is not a
Hmm.
bad shot because he's going to start obviously first game,
Hmm.
but
Absolutely.
Ricardo Pereira is over there like to fight it at the spot as well. But
Yeah,
I think if anyone wants to take a punt, Justin is not a bad shot actually.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Very good point. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
it's looked like over the last few weeks that Pereira is more the Europe guy and
Hmm.
Justin is the league guy. So if it of course again is the very small time frame and very
Hmm.
small rest. But yeah, if Justin plays both games, I think he's a very, very good shot.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, his number is not bad, and I think
Yeah.
if
And
we,
we all know what he did last season too,
yeah,
right? So
yeah, yeah,
it's the back end of the last season. So
he's
yeah,
very
absolutely.
attacking.
Yep. All right. Nothing much to talk about here. Let's move. Yeah,
If you
go.
go back,
Sure,
how do you
absolutely.
rate Burnley defenders for this game week?
I don't personally. I mean, they haven't really looked solid at the
Yeah,
back, especially. I think Mee is still out, right? Ben Mee.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, especially without Ben Mee, they look really kind of vulnerable at the back. Um, yeah, I don't rate them at all, at least for
yeah.
this double
I
game week.
think as me is out, they are not actually in very good shape defensively.
Yeah,
Um, and West Ham is tough game. Southampton home could be, but they are not in actually good shape.
yeah,
And I think Roberts probably lost his place, right? I mean,
yeah. It sounded like Lawton is back probably in the
hmm,
as the first priority or first right back option. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So yeah, I would definitely not go there.
Hmm.
All right. So let's talk about the free hit. So first of all is the biggest dilemma, right? Like when to use the free hit. Some people only have a free hit chip left. Some people have a free hit, wildcard, and bench boost. Someone like me, kind of in a unique situation, I have a free hit and a bench boost without a wildcard. So my question, and we were discussing this before we started recording, is what's the best week to free hit from now? And again, there are not a whole lot of weeks left either, right? So and we kind of know the lay of the land already where the games are going to be. So what do you think? Maybe ZD first. What's the best week for you to free hit from now to end of the season?
Mm, so obviously it depends on the team structure. But say if you played bench boost wildcard, I think 36 could be a good one. Like if your team does not have, but actually most of the people have already Liverpool and others. But if you want
Mhm,
like some best assets, I think 36 is not bad. But again, people already have most of the assets from there.
mhm,
To me, seems like 33 is a good week to play. Previously, we are thinking, I think we had Cancelo, TA, or like say Salah. Like if all the big teams, they have single game week. We saw in the fixture
mm,
initially, but the issue is they are going to play in the FA Cup semi-final in the, at first on Saturday, Sunday. So we don't know
mhm,
how they are going to play in the league games. So that making the free hit little bit interesting over here because in game 33 because there could be some rotation, there could be some injury,
okay.
many things could happen. So in that scenario, I am feeling 33 is a good week to free hit. Uh, on the contrary, for the 37, I mean, if you are going to build towards a team towards to 36, I mean 37 could be covered. And the if Man City or Chelsea does not going to have any double game week in 37, that could be kind of low ceiling.
Mhm,
So all this together, uh, I, I think 33 is better. I mean, if obviously you are going to have, probably you are going to keep two or three single game week player for, I would say, to safety for safety reasons,
mhm,
because they can actually outscore any double game week player.
yeah.
And for 37, although I might play my free hit on 37, but
Mhm,
I feel like 33 is a good one. It's not a bad one. Initially, my thought was actually playing free hit on 33, but I just changed my mind.
mhm.
But who is playing here? I think uh, there is a good chance that they will do well.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Wrangler, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I agree with like ZD pretty much. So again, as we discussed before, right, that like if you compare week by week, first 33 versus 37. So 37 we were expecting Chelsea is gonna have double, Man City is gonna have double. Now Chelsea's double is gonna most likely fall on into 34, right?
Mhm,
And Man City's double also like most likely be in 36. Now in that case, you will have only like Aston Villa, Everton, who else? Crystal Palace, right?
Leicester,
Leicester
Burnley.
City,
Right. So I think
Wolves.
here the good part in 33 is that you have Man United playing against Norwich. That's, I mean, although their form is not good, but that's again, I mean, I'm kind of reiterating that this fixture makes like difference a lot between the 33 and 37. So between 33 and 37, 33 wins, according to me. Now between 33 and 36, as you saw before, right? Like most of us will have 11 double game wickets even without any transfer, right? Now people were thinking that okay, now in 36, since the big teams are gonna have double, you select the like most like appropriate 11 players. You field them in free hit to like compete against the bench booster. That's another school of thought, right? And that's also correct. I mean, that might be right.
Hmm.
I think like it's. I mean, it's hard to say. There are a lot of information is still we have to get right, but looks like 33 has more upside than as you mentioned before as well, right? 33
Yeah.
than 36. So that's why I think. I mean, I don't. I'm still in dilemma whether I'm gonna play feet in 33 or not. But I think 33 has more upside than 33 and 37. That's my personal thought.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with both of you. And we were discussing a whole lot about this right before we started recording again. It just doesn't sound like the ceiling or the delta is too high in 36 or 37 because most people will have decent teams with wild cards or even non-wild cards, carders between now and then will have enough free transfers to make to have a good shape of team. And again, we are talking about in free hit, we are talking about 11 players, right? We are not necessarily talking about 15 good players. We are only talking about 11 good players. And I think a lot of people, even without free hit, will have that in 36. And 37 is the other scenario because 37 is kind of underwhelming as a double. Are we going to transfer out City, Chelsea, and Spurs players for Villa, Crystal Palace, and Wolves players, right? We are not, most likely. So, yeah, it's I mean, 37 can be good given again the league state, how it goes over the next few game weeks. If uh, one of the teams are like a clear champion or the race for the fourth is done or something like that, then 37 might become like a more rotational week. Then you get team news and etc. So it's not the worst thing to have it in your back pocket, so kind of know the news and play it in 37. A lot of people in the community also talks about playing it in game with 38, right? Kind of just wing it in game with 38. And again, 38 fixtures are actually very good for all the big teams. So again, all the games start at the same time as well in game with 38. I think the deadline is kind of 2 hours ahead instead of it being 1.5 hours. So, but you will still probably get some team news, so you can kind of react to that. So that's what I would say, right? So like there is no right or wrong time necessarily to play the free hit. You just kind of you can target a game week where there is no doubles and blanks. Just target the fixtures. Then you pick the players that you don't have, and you look at your team's current points versus the delta that you will have with the free hit. Right? That's what matters. It doesn't matter whether other 3 million players are playing free hit or not. Doesn't matter at all. Right? What matters is how much delta you can get with your base team versus your free hit team. So that's about it, right? So yes, absolutely, 33 looking at everything is probably the best game week to play, but there could be upside elsewhere as well. Okay. And again, we are just yeah, go ahead. You wanted to say something, Angler? Sorry.
No.
Okay, good. So we're just looking at a quick draft from FPL review. And of course, this shows doublers because again that's how the model works, right? So it's putting more weightage on the doublers. They play twice, so there is probability that they can score twice as much essentially. As we are talking about, Newcastle defense is heavily favored, Target and Shar. There's Arsenal defender in there in form of Gabriel. There are two goalkeepers, McCarthy or Schmeichel. You pick and choose. It could be Dubravka as well. I don't think there is a big delta there. The key thing here is the triple up on Manchester United, right? At least the model thinks that the most optimum with or the most upside is if you triple up on Man United. And as it kind of goes with the discussion that we have been having so far, right? You are targeting that one fixture, Man United versus Norwich, and that's basically your delta with everything else that your team could do, right? Essentially. So it's going all in on Manchester United, Fernandes, Ronaldo, and Sancho. And then, I mean, the other positions essentially can move around, right? Saka, Madison, Wood, Lacazette, Ward-Prowse, Cancelo, you can move around the money. But the key thing here is the triple up on the Man United boys. You can definitely get in a single game weeker, whether it's Salah, Kane, or Son. Personally, I would probably pick at least one or two of those single game weekers in my even in my free hit team. And you have the money to do that as well because your defense is pretty cheap, dirt cheap essentially, right? So you can have the money to go really big at the front. But yeah, that's basically going to be the core of every free hit team, right? Unless someone really wants to go differential, this is essentially going to be like 80% of the free hit teams, right? What else do you think of the potential free hit template in 33?
I think Kane and Salah, um, probably. I mean, as you mentioned, right, that this bench has a lot of money, kind
Hmm.
of wasted. So I think, I mean, you should be able to accommodate here Kane or Salah, and I think that's essential as well, as you said, right. You'd keep like at least 2 to 3 single game wickets, and I think Kane and Salah come here, or
Yep.
Son, whoever you want to bring. But I think out of these three, at least two should be there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot like someone in the FPL USA uh, for like a space few weeks ago was talking about like a shield and sword, right? So your sword this game week are the menu guys. Your shield would be Kane and Salah because they are high EO, and not everyone is playing free hit, right? Barely, maybe like 15-20% of the people are going to free hit in the top 100k, top 200k. So Kane and Salah would be your shield, and they can score heavily, right? Kane is playing against Brighton, good record. Salah literally scored a hat trick earlier this season against Manchester United, so they can go big as well. So yeah, absolutely. I think we need to kind of pick and choose, kind of balance the team a little better. You can do better than this, essentially, at least from a theoretical standpoint. What do you think, Zidi?
Yeah, I am also in support of balancing it rather than just attacking with the double game maker, um, because Liverpool and Man City actually playing for the title, and they have plenty for fight, and Spurs is so good you cannot avoid them. So I
Hmm.
think, as you said, probably two of them, having two of them is better uh, in this in the team. But
Hmm.
overall, I agree that you should have, if not three attackers, at least two attackers, Ronaldo and Fernandes. And Sancho is also good shot, but uh, probably I would include Teles.
Hmm.
But I think overall, that is a good draft, with, of course, two premium option like Kane, Salah, or so.
Yep.
I think if you bring Taylor, then you can get rid of Sancho and bring probably Son. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, Sancho can easily become Son, or if even if you do a little bit of surgery, it can become Salah also,
Mhm.
or easily Lacazette can become a Kane, right? Those are kind of easy swaps.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if you don't play Cancelo, then of course that place can go
correct,
Sikimas or anyone, and then you can brought Salah,
correct.
bring Salah like in place of Sancho.
Yep,
yeah, I
absolutely.
see here like around at least, I don't know, 15 to 20 points upside here, and again it's just because of Ronaldo and Bruno. The rest of
Yeah,
them
this
will be able
was.
to cover. I mean, whatever template team people have, I think the rest of them will be covered. It's just Bruno and Ronaldo and there's the captaincy out there, right? So if Ronaldo get 9 or 10, so 10 times 220, and
Mhm.
Fernandez get 9 or something like that. So it's, I think, around 19 or 20 points gain there. Just let's hope
Yeah,
that Kane or others, can match that. I mean, those who are not free eaters. But I think that's
correct.
where 15 to 20 points upside.
Yeah, I think this was like a 96 or 97 EV, total EV. So I think field average is like 75 or something like that. So easily 20-point upside. One thing that of course we have to keep in mind is that almost all of us, let's say for example, I myself have Broha and Weghorst, both of whom double, but not necessarily we can rely on them, right? We can count them as a doubler, but think of them like Broha and Weghorst versus Bruno and Ronaldo. That's the delta essentially, right? You can have, let's forget about all the other doublers. So that's something that maybe you can kind of debate, maybe whether it's better to free hit, or because Manchester United double in 34, it's just better to get in one of their attackers, at least one, so that you cover at least half of that variance, right? and then you get a doubler in 34-2. That's probably the only talking point, that whether you may avoid to free hit this week with actually getting in a Manchester United player. But again, free hit gives you better chance to balance the team with the Manchester United attackers without losing a Salah or a Kane, right? So that's where the benefit lies. But yeah, I think good discussion, all good discussion. Anything else to add for the free hitters? Okay, let's move. All right, next we talk about the captaincy, right? So it's a very open discussion this week, and I don't think there is going to be any standout captaincy option this week at all, right? It's going to be, no one is probably going to be over 100% EO, almost surely. Maybe Salah, because just how highly owned he is, and because of
Probably
his history against Manchester United. Yeah,
because of the dead team as well.
yeah, that's about it. So, but yeah, otherwise, I don't think anyone is going to be anywhere near like 120, 130% EO for sure this week. Uh, but as again, in pertinence to our whole discussion in this video, the Manchester United boys are, if anything is standout, they are kind of the standout captain options, right? And for me, looking at the numbers, purely looking at the numbers, Ronaldo supersedes Bruno, right? If anyone scores a goal against Norwich, I would think there is a better chance that it's Ronaldo than Bruno. He's also on penalties. Hopefully, he's still on penalties, so that also helps. Um, and the only thing that probably go against Ronaldo is the X minutes, right? I think they play 4 games within a span of 12 days. So whether he has the physical fitness necessary to play 4 games, uh, all 90 minutes in within a span of 12 days, Bruno can, right? We all know that he can. That guy is a machine, right? He can play 38 games in a row this season. So Bruno will pretty surely play the whole 360 minutes. Whether or not Ronaldo can, that's where your decision is. The X minute decision is. But as long as Ronaldo plays, I think he's slightly ahead of Bruno. What do you think of the out of these two? Wrangler?
Yeah, I mean, if I would have both in my team, I would have captained actually Bruno,
Okay.
and that's because of the X minutes, as you mentioned, right? Because they are playing after 33, they are playing like Arsenal and Chelsea, and those
Right.
are very like
Crucial
very,
matches, yeah.
yeah, and close schedule, and they're like top four, like kind of they're going away because Spurs are like others are kind of ahead of them. So yeah, I mean, I would put Bruno over Ronaldo because of the X minutes. But again, I mean, we saw the variance before, right, between Bruno and Ronaldo. There is, I mean, it can, I mean, anything can happen. So
Right.
it's just like I don't know. I mean, if you free hit, I think if you keep both, and I think Bruno would be the highly owned captain than Ronaldo. That's my personal thought.
Yep. ZD?
It's difficult actually, but as Bruno is midfielder actually, that's why I slightly rate him a little bit higher. But yeah, Ronaldo, of course, he can smash. I think he also scored from penalty in the reverse fixture. Um, but if I, as Rangla said, if I have both of them, probably I would captain Bruno.
Bruno.
But and also Ronaldo is a little bit struggling with his injuries, given that a little bit tough to choose.
Uncertain. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously from in fate, I would include both of them.
But I think in in 33 he's gonna play like
Both
full.
of them, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
of course. I think they don't.
Yeah, there was some discussion because the 34 games are more crucial, right? Chelsea and Arsenal. So he might be rested in the Liverpool game potentially. Play him in the Norwich game, maybe bench him in Liverpool, and then let him play both the matches in 34. But again, it's kind of hard to predict that.
I
It's
don't
hard
think
to predict. Yeah,
if he's fit, he's gonna play. I mean,
yeah.
I think so.
Personally, I think so. Probably reduce minute little bit, but not like
Yep.
his if he's fit.
And of course,
My
the thing is that,
concern is with the injury.
yeah, Cavani is also unfit, right? Cavani is injured. Rashford is completely out of form. There is literally no one else that can play number 9, right? Like a natural number 9. So yeah, I also think like if Ronaldo is fit, at least he starts all the games. Maybe his minutes gets managed. He gets subbed off at like 60, 70th minute possibly. But yeah, he plays as long as he's fit. Um, okay, so outside of these two, who would you go to as a captain if you don't have any of these two guys? Would you
Uh,
captain a Sancho, for example?
I mean, if I have only Sancho, then I would.
Okay,
For me, probably Kane,
okay,
not like any other double game. Because uh, I mean, I am not feeling that much confident with the other double game maker.
yeah,
Saka is a good shout, I guess, but again, Arsenal is struggling as well. So, but
hmm,
Kane with his form with Brighton at home, uh, I feel like he's better option than many double game makers.
yeah. Cannot disagree there. Wrangler.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, if I would have had Sancho, I would actually captain Sancho over Kane or Salah. I rate him pretty well as well.
Hmm.
You know, so but otherwise for the scene, like I have Saka, and I think I'm gonna go with him. Although I mean, I don't know. Kane, definitely Kane and Salah. They will be a good option, but again, it's kind of like single game week, right? And so if they kind of miss anything, then
And
it's fun.
I just remembered Kane is going to play the first game
It's
Yeah,
it's it's,
early
it's
kickoff.
early kickoff as well.
early
So
game.
Yeah.
like you wake up in the early morning, and if you say that he blanks, your game week is completely gone. You will be
Hmm.
completely like scared, like seeing other results. So I don't know. It's a tough call. I wish I would have any answer for that. So
Yeah, it's again, captaincy is going to be either it can be nothing, all of them can fail, or all of them can decently score, or it can be like a Bowen versus Antonio swing, right, or something like that, or the Ronaldo versus Bruno swing that we saw earlier in the season as well. It could easily be that, right, one of that. So yeah, it's really, really kind of up in there. But yeah, absolutely, if you have a Manchester United player attacker, you just take the chance, right? You just take the chance with them, and then don't think about it. Uh, would you put a priority on a transfer if you don't have a Manchester United attacker for 33, especially for non-free hitters? Would you, as a priority, because you would want to captain them, do you transfer them in?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it just because of since I don't have any like clear cut captaincy shout or captaincy option. I'm thinking like I have Kane, so I was thinking to like transfer out Kane and get Ronaldo, since now they are having double double as well. Although it's not a
Mhm.
good double, in terms of fixture in the 34, but again it's double, right? And especially 33 is the main like other
Yeah.
crucial thing here. So I was thinking, or I'm thinking about it, but I will see. I have to kind of do all the maths, how it lines up. But I
Okay.
would try to do it. Not removing Salah to Bruno. I would not do that. But Kane probably I can sacrifice. That's I'm
Yeah, I was
thinking.
actually going to ask, like, who would you rather sacrifice, Salah or Kane, if you absolutely want to get one
I
of them?
know
So
people
you
are
you
gonna
answered that
think
already.
about Salah because of his form, but I would not do that. I mean, even I'm not comfortable getting rid of Kane as well. It's just like because of this one game with Norwich.
Hmm.
But again, between Kane and Salah, I would do probably Kane. That suits well for my structure as well, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I mean again, Salah is as always still a decent option as a captaincy. The one, well, at least I did not think of him as the best captain shout in game week 9 when they were playing against Manchester United. I captained Kai Havertz, and we all know how that played out. So he is still a decent shout, right? All the numbers are there. He looks to be in better shape. It was after he came back from the qualifiers, he was looking a little bit kind of not that confident. But in the Champions League and everything, he was actually benched in the Champions League game also, right? The second leg. So he's kind of fresh to go as well. So yeah, he can be a pretty good shout as well as captains.
Well,
And I
he's
think
playing against Man City over the weekend, so that's another tough game.
yeah, so they do play Manchester City before this game, of course. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Do you expect any of this will be like over 100% year in this week
I think if anyone is, it would be Salah. Uh, no
because
one
of this
else.
high EOA
High
anyways?
ownership, yeah, just
I
because
think
how
Kane also probably will be over 100. I think
close, yeah,
he was 74 anyways last week. I think so.
yeah, he'll be close, yeah, between Salah and Kane, yeah. Okay, alrighty, let's move to our teams. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on my team this week, so I, of course, uh, absolutely butchered my transfer last week. I went from Kulusevski to Sancho. It didn't play out well at all. I lost almost like 10 or 11 points in total. Um, of course, I got in Shar for Van Dijk. At least he got a clean sheet, so it was not the worst thing in the world. But I definitely lost at least 10 points. So my rank dropped severely from 104k to 126k, and that was more due to actually the Son Hall, Son captaincy versus Kane captaincy, of course. So yeah, it was not at all a good game week for me last game. This game week, I'm again not really sure what I'm going to do. It can go many ways. At least uh, initially, I was thinking of bench boosting, but after the Doherty injury, it kind of got very difficult. At least like a -4, a -8 almost to even get to a decent bench boost team. And then, of course, I have these doublers, right? That I was talking about, Weghorst and so on. So I have to think about them too. And also, I do have Sancho because I got him in last week, but I don't have either Ronaldo or Bruno. So if I don't free hit, I would probably want to get one of them in. But again, it involves a -8 or -12 at least. So as we were saying, as we were discussing before the video, there is a potential that I might just free hit, right? So may not be the worst thing. Just kind of don't think about this game week at all. Don't overthink this. Just free hit. Let 34 come, and then I'll make my decisions based on whatever the FA Cup semifinals are going to be, right? So I will know for sure whether Chelsea and Man U are going to be doubling in 35 or not. Sorry, 34 or not. But yeah, that's about it. So I can free hit or I can bench boost with a few hits. All right. Anything that you want to suggest?
I don't know. I would play free hit here. Well, again, as you said, Weghorst, Broha. Oh, those are I don't know. -8 probably
Mhm.
uh, could be an option and get rid of the bench boost if you want. But -12 also, like if you take -12, that's probably okay because you are taking some good players for the long term. So hopefully that's gonna pay off. And you already have Sancho actually, as I mentioned. I would probably captain Sancho here because that's the only thing, right? The captaincy.
Mhm.
That's why we were thinking like whether to bring Ronaldo or Bruno because we don't have any good captaincy shout, right? And if any of them clicks, you have 20 points, right? So that's the upside there. Like, and in the free hit also we are thinking the same thing, right? The 20 points. So with
Right.
one transfer, if you get the 20 points, I think it's good, right? To keep your free hit in your hand. Maybe that's my thought. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have to do anything, right? I can just roll. I already made the Rafinha to KDH transfer because I thought his price was going to change. So I kind of wanted to have that little bit of delta. And I think I was going to get KDH anyways. But I can potentially just roll from here, right? I'm still already benching KDH, although he's a doubler. So the only miss essentially is Ramsdale's points. But the problem here is that then I'm going to really, really fall behind if I don't do anything, if I don't play any chips, especially in my rank. I think I'm easily going to be going behind like 150k plus, potentially even as low as 200k or something like that, because people are going to free hit, uh, bench boost, etc., etc. So yeah, I mean, I can just roll from here, right? So not necessarily I have to force it either. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Okay. All right.
To me, seems like free hit is a good option for you. rather than actually taking these big hits. Especially first two, I think if you take Ward-Prowse, Cedric, you might want to get rid of Ward-Prowse again.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, probably you just need probably 2 3 positions in the forward. So
Yeah,
my suggestion is probably Fleet, but it's obviously uh, you spend lots of time with the team, so you know better, of course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the problem is that if I had not used my free transfer last week, if I had just rolled, it
Hmm.
probably would have been easier for me to navigate. I just kind of butchered that, so unfortunate, but that's where I am. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for your suggestions, guys. Let's move to Wrangler's team. Wrangler, you want to talk about it quickly?
Yeah, so last week also it was not good for me, and just mostly because of the Son's captaincy. Otherwise, it was okay for me. I actually kind of took the guts and get rid of Weghorst, by the way. So you guys know that. So I got Reece James. I was always scared of Reece James, even if it comes with cameo, it's fine by me. But I thought to get him, and I got him last week. I kind of couldn't like his price actually rise. I wish I could have got before that, but it's okay. So right now, so yeah, I actually like dropped from 10K to 14K, but it's all right. I mean, what can I do? So for this week, I cannot even field, as you can see, 11 players. I have Doherty red. He's gone for this season. So I have Robertson, Trent, Cancelo, and James. All these big four. I have Saka right now, captain. I have Kulusevski, Salah, Kane, and Broha, and all my bench, as you can see. I'll probably play Dubravka, by the way, over Ramsdale here. So potentially, I'm thinking, like since Duarte is gone, I might get Shar, who is gonna have double game week here. So I can field just 11 players, but again, if Cancelo or James doesn't show up, then I will like end up playing 10 here. So I might um, I don't know. Rafina is not playing, so I might get rid of Rafina as well and get Medicine with -4. I don't know how much worth it is gonna be, because eventually I actually wanted to get either Mount or Foden. In 34, most likely now it's Mount because they're gonna double in 34. So now if I get Medicine, then I have to again get rid of him and get Mount in place of him, unless I remove Saka. So that's one plan I'm having. And then I was thinking, as I told, like, since no captaincy option, so whether to get rid of Kane and get Ronaldo. But again, I am removing one of the need player, and Ronaldo's like fitness, I don't know how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So looks like Doherty to Shar is probably happening, probably. you know I might now. I was thinking, like, I might even get rid of Ramsey and get KDH. That's gonna be also kind of an enabler. I'm gonna get a player as well who is gonna double game week as well. So I don't know. I mean, that
Well,
could
Rams's fixtures are not the worst, right? If you since you don't have to worry about bench boost, so you can
right.
just keep him right from 35. His fixtures are pretty decent, pretty well, pretty good. So yeah, I would
Yeah,
not do that. One thing that I was thinking is maybe you can think of Rafinha to. You have two Arsenal players, right? Yeah, just
Martinelli was, yeah.
Ramsdale and Saka. So yeah, you can probably think of Martinelli here without Lacazette. There is a potential that he can play up front. I would actually prefer him over Madison. Like at least for now. For 36, I prefer Madison more. But at least given the
That means you're saying if I get
situation,
Martinelli here, then next week I get rid of Saka and get Mount over there.
yeah, you just see like how Arsenal is looking. If they're not looking as good, you just go from Saka to Mount or a Kai or a Foden, whatever, wherever you want to go for it.
Like, say they look good, but I still want Mount or Kai. Then what should I
Yeah,
do?
you can still remove Saka. You have the Arsenal cover there, right? So
Mhm.
it at least gives you that flexibility. If you go to Madison, I think either you would have to think of taking a heat or something down the road. You just kind of lose the flexibility there a little bit, right? And also, if you really want to go even bigger at the back, you can go one step up from Doherty. I don't think you need to because you already are pretty like already four premium defenders, but you also save the money there to upgrade Doherty if you need.
You mean Laporte?
Yeah, potentially Laporte or Rudiger if you can go there. Probably Rudiger is a little too expensive, but yeah, I think I would definitely pick Martinelli over Madison for this game. No point me picking Madison with his X-minute situation, and
But is Martinelli nailed though? I mean, that
he's right now he's. Yeah, I think at least all the Arsenal guys that I spoke to,
is
he
it because of Lacazette?
even without Lacazette, Smith ESR is not in the best form, so he is pretty much nailed. Like
I,
they feel like that Martinelli has to be on the field to be creating chances and so on. So
I think at least 60 to 70 minutes probably.
yeah, he starts. I think all the Arsenal supporters that I spoke to, he starts for sure.
Okay, that's good fine. Otherwise, yeah, free hit also another option too. I will see.
Yeah,
It's just I don't have any captaincy child. I mean, I wanted to have someone like double game.
would you captain Madison if you bring him in? You would not.
Uh,
Very unlikely, right? I don't think you're going to take that chance.
Yeah, he would be a good option if he did not have Europe or anything.
so in
Yeah.
this team, who do you captain by the way? Like say if I just bring Shah, so like who I
Saka
will.
is a good shout. Saka is a very good shout.
In this team, Shaka, yeah.
Yeah, if you're thinking outside of Saka, then Salah or Kane, one of them.
Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah. Martinelli persuasion. Yeah, I take it. Thanks.
All right, ZD, you want to talk about your wild card?
Yeah, so I was planning to actually play free hit, but then I decided to do World Cup. Although my plan was like to play on 34, but I just thought like probably I can do it. So last week I also slipped like from 87k to 100k because of not having Son. So this week I decided to play my wild card, and I basically took like tried to cover seven, probably I would say good 6 or 7 double gimmick player and 4 premium player, and also tried to cover um, Liverpool defense. But obviously, I am taking some risk, like going without Salah. Uh, so that's one thing. Also, I don't have Alexander Arnold as well, so it's going to be very risky wild card. But with my rank, I just want to take a chance, like to see with some differential game if I can uh, move uh, in front. But if I
Yeah,
go beyond that, I am not going to complain it, of course, because of Salah and uh, Trent. But my plan is actually, as I'm going to play bench boost in 36. So again, I want to have some double game weaker as well. So my planning probably I need to take 1 or 2 hits in the middle if Chelsea get doubles,
hmm
and I'm ready for that because I think Chelsea in the long term they are very good. So I'm eyeing for like Mount, Havertz, or Warner, um, um, like for 34 if they get double.
yeah,
So far, I have Schmeichel, Ramsdale, but I can actually down. I'm thinking of downgrading Ramsdale to 4 star
hmm
to um, get some money out. I have Laporte, Cancelo, and Shar, and my other 2 defenders are Robertson, James, um, and I have KDH, Son, Martinelli, Fernandez, Madison, Wood, and Kane, and Greenwood. So I might change Greenwood as well because if I don't change it, I mean, although Greenwood has double game week, but I don't want to carry him because he is not going to play, of course,
hmm
um, that much. So I might take probably Cucho, Mateta, Wapeto. I don't know. I mean, anyone is fine in that range.
yep,
So, um, uh, I mean, so far that's the idea. I might change a little bit actually tomorrow.
hmm
Like I am having an idea of taking Ronaldo as well with Kane, probably in place of. Probably I might change Son. Uh, it's just a thinking, uh, like. But I will decide actually tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
Ragnar, you
since
have
you
any?
already played the wild card, it's not the worst idea to kind of attack with the Manchester United guys. Anyways,
Yeah,
if you are not, you are going to right with your free hit. So you kind of also keep the flavor of the free hit a little bit
yeah,
with the double Manchester United.
yeah. Having Kane, Ronaldo up front, and probably I can sacrifice Wood in that
Mhm.
case, and mm, then um, in 34, if Chelsea doubles, probably the problem is in that case I need to get rid of Fernandez or Ronaldo probably if I want to have those attacker. But the double game week for Man United it's tough, right? So uh,
Yep.
I can
I
find
would
out
not,
actually.
I would
Hmm.
not bring Ronaldo here. Since you already have Bruno, I would not double up. I mean, at least personally, I would not do that. You
Hmm.
are covered. And Wood has good fixture, by the way. And you need money, as you said, right? You need money
Yeah.
for bringing Chelsea asset, right? In
Yeah,
34,
Yeah. The
because
only thing that would do that you'll have to then take hits, right? You'll down the road
yeah,
you'll have to take multiple hits probably here and there.
yeah. Which might actually um, hurt my wild card, right? Like if I
Yeah, the
take lots of.
benefit of the wild card would be
Yeah,
lost then. Yeah.
yeah.
are you gonna keep Ramsdale though, or you're thinking to downgrade it?
Wood? No, I will keep
Ramsdale.
Wood.
No,
Ramsdale.
Ramsdale.
Yeah, yeah. I might downgrade him to Foster because I don't. I just have 0.3 million in the bank, and I think I need to upgrade Greenwood.
Yeah, I think
Because,
as Kante mentioned before, right, that I think you probably
mm,
should upgrade Greenwood to someone who is gonna play because otherwise you
yeah,
need another transfer, right? So
and
that's
down
one
the
thing.
road, yeah.
So,
Yeah, you want to make sure that you have as less book transfers as you have, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you think of having Madison in, like for me in this World Cup team? Do you think I should take another
Um,
guy probably and then take later Madison?
it's probably okay, as I said right before. If you can have some money in your hand, and if you can go from Madison to Mount directly, that's okay. If you are attacking the double this game week, even if he plays 120 minutes, I think he still is a decent shout. I don't think he'll start both, but with
Yeah,
120 minutes, it's okay. And then you just have to make sure that you have that money flexibility that you can directly go from Madison to Mount at least directly. Because I'm pretty sure you would want to do that once 34 is there.
yeah, yeah. Of course, in 34, I would want Chelsea assets. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the idea of having wildcard so late.
right. Okay, good stuff.
Okay, okay.
Good discussion, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think we are done here. So it's already past 3 here in our local time. So thank you guys for being here with me. And it's pretty tough for us, but a good thing is that it's a long weekend. So enjoy the long weekend, and the deadline is on Saturday morning this time around. So best of luck with your upcoming game week. Hopefully, the variance won't hurt us too much, all of us. Best of luck.
yep, you too.
Thank you. You
Thank you.
too.